Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about some books that I'm looking forward to reading in the year of 2026. One of my goals as a reader is to try to finish all the series that I started and never completed. That's one of my biggest goals of 2026, as I have a lot of series to get through. I am a fantasy reader, so a lot of the books I read are series, and I have a tough time of finishing series in general. But I do have a stack of books here that I want to prioritize, and some of them are quite old, and I am like, I just need to get to these. Like, I really liked the first books of all of these series, so I'm just like, I really need to get into these series and complete them. So yeah, with all that being said, let's just talk about the books. So the first series, which I'm already starting off strong with the year, and I'm actually already reading, which is The Bear and the Nightingale series by Catherine Arden. I loved the first book of that series. If you don't know what it's about a girl named Visalia, and her mother dies, and after that her father goes to Moscow to bring home a new wife, as this is set in a Russian landscape. Vasilia, I don't know how to pronounce her name really, but she has a very strong connection to the spirits of her house, but she kind of dismisses them because she's really terrified of like what can happen because of it. But because she dismisses them, there's a lot of stuff going on in her town, and also like her crop starts to fail, and there's like a weird creature that kind of stalks and terrorizes the village. So Vasia, I think she's actually called Vasia in the book, but Visalia, she tries to defy her stepmother, who kind of tells her like she shouldn't be dealing with these spirits or anything like that. But she does that just so that she can try to protect her family. Now, I love the first book of the series. I love the writing style. I thought it was very atmospheric, very cold, and very beautiful at the same time. I just really fell in love with Catherine Arden's writing style. I am one who really likes like atmospheric writing. I try to incorporate it into my own writing, and I just really like the style. I know it's like kind of, you either like this type of writing style or you don't, but I particularly love it. So with that being said, the sequel of the trilogy, so the sequel of that is The Girl in the Tower, and as you can see, I am currently reading this. I am about halfway through. You could tell how old these are because they are yellowing, and these are the UK editions, which I bought a set on a website. I don't know if it still exists anymore, but it was a website where you can buy like UK editions because you can't really get them anywhere else. And if I remember what it was, I'll link it for you guys down below. Again, I don't know if it still exists because I bought these a very long time ago, but I bought them assuming that I was going to read them like pretty quickly after the first book, but did not happen. But I am reading it right now, because again, that's my goal this year, to read sequels and to finish series before I start like new sequels and series. So yeah, this is the current book I am reading, and so far I'm liking it. I don't know if I like it more than the first one, but yeah, there's like a lot of interesting things happening, but I don't know if I am loving it as much as the first one. I feel like I had like a really fun and unique time while reading that book, and so far like this is very slow paced, and I feel like the first one was more like action packed. But yeah, so this is The Girl in the Tower, and I'm not going to go too into depth of like what this specific book is about, but I am so far like it's okay to me. But yeah, so after I finish The Girl in the Tower, I do have The Winter of the Witch, which I will probably want to read like shortly after I finish this one. I'm trying to get back into like higher fantasies because I do eventually want to write a high fantasy at some point. I think this would be good research, but I love how this book looks. It's so pretty and again, yellowy. So I need to read this book and just finish the series. So yeah, so that is the first series. And I know it's relatively popular on BookTube. I don't know how many people have like finished the entire trilogy, but there are other books that Catherine Arden has written that I do want to get to, but I want to read these first. The next book is actually a book that I really, really loved, and I love the first two books of the series, and I don't know if this is a trilogy or a quartet because it's the Legendborn cycle, so I don't know how many books are going to be in this series, but this is the third book that when it came out, it was like all over my feed, and everyone was talking about it, and I was like, this is great. Like, I love the series, and I bought the third book, but I have not read it yet, so that is Oathbound. All right, people, she is good. She is all good. Yeah, okay. That could have been bad. I did not mean to damage that. But as you can see, it is a big, gigantic book. And I just love the series. It's like a King Arthur retelling. It's set in like modern day on a college campus. And it is just... it's so good. I love the main character of this. I actually really like the romance in this as well. I'm not like super into fantasies that have some sort of romance in them because I feel like sometimes the romance takes over the actual like fantasy plot line of the book, and I actually felt the opposite of this book. Like, I feel like she really honed in, the author, Tracy Dion, she honed in like on the magic and the world versus like really focusing on the romance. But I liked both aspects of it because she focused on like the really cool magic system and like the Arthurian mythology and all of that. So yeah, really hope to finish this book sometime this year. I do have the audiobook of it because this book is very long. It is over 600 pages. So I just need to read it at some point. It will probably take me a long time once I actually sit and get into it, but I do want to get to this year. And then we also have another gigantic fantasy book, which is Royal Assassin by Robin Hobb. And this is part of the Farseer trilogy. I read Assassin's Apprentice and loved it. Again, another really good, like, high fantasy book. And also very loved on BookTube. Like, a lot of people talk about this and really enjoy it. And I wasn't sure how I was going to like it because it is older. And it is a huge, vast, like, high fantasy. I really, really liked the first book. The first book follows Fitz, who is a royal bastard, and he kind of has a magical connection to animals, and he's kind of like the court and kind of uses him and his powers, and he is being trained to like be an assassin for the court. So hence Assassin's Apprentice, Royal Assassin. He does have an apprentice who teaches him how to like control his his magic. And I loved that. I love the training aspect of this book and the relationship between his apprentice and his connection with animals is also really interesting. So I really, really loved the first book, and Fitz is such a like endearing character, and just like I love everything about him. So I definitely want to finish this trilogy. And this is a trilogy of like a very vast world. There's other trilogies involved in this world. So I really want to finish this trilogy so that I can get to the other books in that series. And this one is coming in, oh yeah, very big book. Okay, 689 pages. So very long and big chunky book. And I know the other series are also very big and chunky. So that's kind of been a factor of intimidation with this book. So I just have not gotten into it. I do have the audiobook. I got it off of Everand and I started listening to it today. So I will just kind of listen to that whenever I can. Again, audiobooks are a little difficult because I typically read them or listen to them when I'm doing like chores and stuff. So it might take me a while. It probably will take me a while. But yeah, this is the second book of the Farseer trilogy. And I can't remember what the third one was called. Assassin's Quest. That is the third and final book of the Farseer trilogy. So once I finish this chunker of a book, I will get to Assassin's Quest. I don't know if I'll be able to get to it like as soon as I finish it because again, it's a big book and it takes me a minute to like fully grasp a series that big, but I do have plans to read it and potentially will try to finish it this year. So that's the goal. I also forgot to bring the next book I'm going to talk about out, so I'm going to go grab that and another book that I forgot about. So one moment. Okay, so the next book I wanted to talk about is another beloved author on Booktube who is Maggie Stiefvater. I loved her Raven Cycle series and I read last year Call Down the Hawk, which is from the Dreamer trilogy, which follows Ronan, who is a dreamer. And I really liked this book. I listened to the audiobook and had a lot of fun listening to it. Ronan was one of my favorite characters in in the Raven Cycle series. And this book follows like three main people. Follows Ronan, and it also follows Jordan Hennessy, who is a thief, and she is trying to get this dream object. And it also follows Carmen Farouk Lane, who is a hunter, and her brother was a dreamer and a killer, but she's kind of after the dreamers because of what happened in her past. And Ronan Lynch is being used to go into these dreams to figure out what's going on with this like looming apocalypse that is being prophesied and is like very well known, and they're trying to figure all that out. So yeah, really loved the first book and I really want to get to the other two books, which are Mr. Impossible, which I actually really like the title of that book. I kind of reminds me of, there's a Stephen King, Mr. Mercedes is what it reminds me of. But yeah, really love the characters in this, and I loved the like dream world and all that, and like the apocalypse aspect of it as well. So I really want to finish this book. They're not as big as the other books that I talked about, but I don't know how long Mr. Impossible is, but I do want to finish it because I do like this author and I do like the characters in this book series. I don't have the other two. The third one is called Grey Warren, and it looks like there's like a Sleepy Hollow kind of character on the cover, but I don't have that or those books at all. So I would have to figure out how to get those books. But I do like the cover of Mr. Impossible. It kind of reminds me of like Supernatural a little bit, but I don't like this cover very much. Yeah, loved Ronan in this series, and yeah, his brothers were also in it as cameos, but it really focused like on Ronan and the stuff he's going through and his relationship, which I adored and loved. And I've actually added a couple more books that I didn't take notes on, but I totally forgot about these books, but I definitely want to get to finishing the series. It's just a couple more books. So yeah, the next book that I want to talk about is one that I actually really, really liked when I read it. And I was kind of surprised because it was slated as a romantasy series. And I typically don't like romantasies because, again, they really focus heavily on the romance part of it. But I'm really more interested in like the world and the character development and all of that. And sometimes I do like the romance aspects of the books, but sometimes I feel like they are poorly written or are like taken too seriously. But I liked this book a lot, and that is One Dark Window. The second book I want to read, I believe it's just a trilogy, but the second book is Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig. I really liked this. It was like gothic romance and followed Elspeth Spindle, who is kind of like trapped or has this really strong connection to this thing called Nightmare, which she feels like she kind of needs him to protect her, but she doesn't really need him. He keeps all her secrets and he's kind of misleading and kind of tells her that like she needs him. But yeah, she meets a mysterious highwayman on the forest road, and after that her life kind of takes a drastic turn. She is thrust into this gothic world of shadow and deception and goes on a quest to cure Blunder of the dark magic infecting it. So she's basically trying to escape from this like nightmare and also trying to cure something. But I loved the writing of this. It was very atmospheric once again, and I loved the gothic like setting of this. I haven't read a lot of gothic books, but I think I want to get more into that because I do have like a book idea I want to write in the future, a historical vampire situation, and I do want it kind of to span across a lot of different eras. So I do want to read more like historical or gothic like books. I love the atmosphere of it. So yeah, that is One Dark Window. And the final book off of this list, I do have like a lot of other series that I do need to complete, but these are like my main series that I need to complete. So this is the last book off of this series. So the next book is a book that I read a very long time ago. And I really, really liked it when I read it, but I just never, again, like I never got around to the next book of the series. And I tried reading this book, I think like a while ago, but I wasn't invested in the writing style. Like it felt too young for me to be reading like the writing itself. Like, I don't know. I feel like my tastes have kind of changed since I've started reading this book, but I remember really enjoying the world and the characters of the series. And that is the Renegades series. And the second book is Arch Nemesis. And this was like a dystopian series about these people who are called the Renegades, and they are people with like extraordinary abilities and who emerge from the ruins of a crumbled society, and they want to establish peace and order amongst all this chaos. Some people don't really view them as heroes. They're kind of like anti-villains almost, like as how they're viewed. I liked the first book a lot. I just never got around to this book, even though I bought it like as soon as I saw that it had come out. That was a while ago. That was like back in 2018. So I've had this book forever and I haven't picked it up again because I feel like I need to reread Renegades because it's been so long since I've read that book. So I just need to maybe reread Renegades and read arch nemesis. And I think this is a trilogy. Yeah, the last book is Supernova, which I do love the titles of these books. And I've never read the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer, but I did read Heartless, and I really liked that. Like, there are aspects of her writing that I really like. It is easy to read and digest, and it's very fun. So I do want to finish the series. She also has something called Wire's Nerve, which I don't know what that is, but the covers look intriguing. I don't think I will ever read the Lunar Chronicles, only because I feel like I'm a bit too old to be reading that series, and I just don't know if I'll love it as much as like people who did when they actually like read it when they came out. But I do want to finish this trilogy at some point, hopefully this year. Again, the edges are kind of yellowing because I've had this book for so long. That is the final book that I'm going to talk about. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm trying to put out new content for you guys, and I definitely want to keep up with that. And because I feel like I mentioned that last year and I didn't really keep up with the new content, but this year I definitely want to, and I want to talk about other things that I enjoy and have fun talking about. So I really hope you enjoyed this video and look forward to more booktube related videos, as well as like writertube videos and anything I feel like talking about. But I would love to know like what sequels you are looking forward to finishing, and if you have some of these sequels on your list and just haven't gotten around to them and potentially want to get to them. I would love to know what those series are. But yeah, if you like this, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe, definitely do, only if you want to. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye.